Yeah. So welcome to the Selenium training at qdpselenium.com. The first thing which I'll tell you before I start off with Selenium is a brief history of Selenium, how it evolved over a period of time, how it can be helpful, what you need to learn, right? So you know what? I'll just give you a simple example. Fine. When I worked on Selenium for the first time in the market, like I worked on something known as Selenium RC. Okay, like I worked for the first time on it. I think it was 2007, right? So the first initially there was something known as Selenium RC. Okay, then there's something known as IDE, and then GRID. Okay, now most of the people's IDE is still there. Most of the people prefer it. It's very easy. It's a simple record and run tool. Fine, IDE is a very simple record and run tool. Fine, it's very simple to use. It's very powerful as well. And the problem with IDE is that it only works on Mozilla. This is the major drawback. Secondly, if you have a bigger project in which you have say 1000 test cases or 2000 test cases, and you want to generate sorry, you want to generate logs, you want to generate reports and all everything, so it becomes very tough to automate using IDE, right? So what we do is that's why IDE uh, is not preferred. So people started using Selenium RC because of that. Okay, I have written the wrong spelling over here. I'm sorry. It should be Selenium. Okay, hold on. Selenium RC. Now, Selenium RC was a tool which could work on multiple browsers. You could generate reports, you could run batch test cases and all. If you have to run 1000, 2000, 3000 test cases, it's easier to implement. Fine, but you had to learn a programming language for Selenium RC. For example, you had to learn Java or any language like C Sharp, or people do it using Ruby, Python. There are many other languages as well: PHP, Perl, Ruby, Python. So you have a multiple range of choices with you. Okay, so it's not just limited to Java. You have got other languages as well with which you can learn Selenium RC. But Selenium RC primarily was used with Java. Even today, Selenium WebDriver there is primarily used with Java. Okay, but RC had got a lot of drawbacks. Okay, the first and primary drawback, if you have ever worked with RC, is that you had to have your command prompt opened and you have to start a server. In RC, there used to be Selenium server, which you needed to start, and then RC used to work. At times, the port used to be blocked and the server used to never start. Then people used to log off, log out, log in, and then work on Selenium RC. So it was very frustrating this way as well. Plus, there were other drawbacks as well. Certain features were not there. So, what these guys did, ThoughtWorks and Google, they combined together. ThoughtWorks is the original company which made Selenium, right? So they got together and made another version, which is also known as WebDriver or Selenium 2.0, whatever you say, or WebDriver. It came up in 2011. Right? It could also work on multiple browsers. It also supported multiple languages like Java, C Sharp, Ruby, Python. But they did many improvements and added a lot of features when they migrated from RC to WebDriver. Okay, and it was not actually a migration. It was like building up a completely new tool. Selenium RC is, you can say, a different tool than Selenium WebDriver. Okay, it's not an upgradation, you can say, but Both of them are completely different. People who have worked on RC, when they look at WebDriver, they are not able to understand the thing out of it. And people who have worked on WebDriver, they are not able to understand it. So both of them are completely different. It's not necessary to learn RC to learn WebDriver. Okay, if you are learning Selenium, I would request you to learn WebDriver. These days, a lot of companies prefer WebDriver only. Right? IDE is still there. The version has changed. That's it. Okay, it is still there, but look, very few people use it. If you have a project of say, you just test 2 or 3 pages and that's it, right? So you can use IDE. But if you have a large scale project, obviously you cannot use IDE for that. Okay, now grid. Grid is something which helps you to save time and run your test cases parallelly. Fine. In grid, we make one node and connect multiple nodes to it. Nodes can be PCs or servers, whatever it is, and we distribute the test cases, right? This central node is known as hub, okay, and we connect the other child nodes to it, fine, and on each node you run the test cases in parallel. It depends how you want to run it. Maybe on one node you can only run on Mozilla, on the second node you can run on IE, on third node you can run on Chrome, or if you have got 3000 test cases, you can run 1000 test cases on one node, 1000 other on the third one. Right, it is completely your choice. Fine. Now Grid has also upgraded itself, and these days Grid 2 is there in the market, which is obviously supporting WebDriver. Fine. So somebody was asking me a question, will I be covering JUnit or TestNG, whatever is the case. Look, what I have seen with my experience is that TestNG works better with Grid. Okay, I just tell you this much because most of the people out here won't be knowing what TestNG is. If you don't know what TestNG is, don't worry. Okay, so this is a brief background about the tool. Right, now the first and the most important thing which you need to do before you learn this tool is that you need to learn Java language. Okay, this is the mistake which majority of the people make. They don't concentrate on Java, they directly try to jump over to Selenium, and that's I've seen. I've been training people over 3 years now, 3 to 4 years. So officially training over 3 to 4 years. But what I've seen is people when they try to learn Selenium, they directly jump over to WebDriver and then they lose their interest and then everything. The story ends. Right? Look, if you learn Java, it's very easy to learn WebDriver. I can write it on a piece of paper and give it to you that if a if a Java developer is asked to learn Selenium, he'll just take 1 or 2 days. Okay, it's that easy for them because they have the Java language knowledge. So Java is not something which you can ignore, and if you are afraid of Java or afraid of programming, look, nothing happens if you are afraid of it. You just have to give it time. It's not something which you can learn in 2 days or 1 week or even 1 month. You need at least 2-3 months of practice. Okay, it comes over a period of time, and in Java you need to understand core Java. Okay, so I'll be starting over with Java, and in this course I teach you Java, and then I'll tell you how the concepts of Java they are applied in Selenium. Okay, so primarily in Java you need to learn the concept of object-oriented programming. The first thing which you want to learn is OOPS concept, object-oriented programming. Many of you might have heard this word, but what is the practical implementation? We'll see that. Fine. Now, I'm assuming this thing that you know basic things, right? That you know basic things, that what an if statement is, what a for loop is, right? I expect this much, that you know basics of programming. If you don't even know basics of programming, then I would say prefer just buy the videos and later on you can start paying the remaining money. Okay, there's no need to join the class directly if you don't have any little background of programming knowledge. Okay, fine. Now, the first thing which you need to do to learn Java is that you need to download Eclipse. I hope Java is installed on everybody's machine. Java is required to join WebEx, that's why. Okay, so you have to download Eclipse. Eclipse is the editor for Java language. This is Eclipse. For example, many of you might have studied C language. So Turbo C was the editor of C. So similarly, Eclipse is the editor for Java language. So you can download the Java IDE for Java EE developers. This is the one, depending whether you have Windows 32-bit or 64-bit, whatever it is, you can download it. And once you download Eclipse, hold on, just hold on. I think I have it on my desktop. I have it over here. I have clicked the shortcut. It will come as a bundle. Okay, it will come as a bundle. You just have to extract the zip file or the RAR file, whatever it is. Fine. And after you extract it, hold on. After you extract it, you will get a folder like this. In that, you will have eclipse.exe file. Now, one thing which I want you to make sure is that if you have a 64-bit machine, okay, which most of us have these days, also make sure that JDK is installed on your machine. Fine, JDK is Java Development Kit. Fine, this is the link. You can download JDK from Google. Just search for JDK and click on the first link. You will get Java downloads and download JDK. This one, JDK 7. You download it and install it. Fine. If you have a 64-bit machine, otherwise Eclipse will not start. Alright. So this is, oh my god, people have added me immediately. Okay, anyways, what I'll do is I'll start Eclipse. Probably I got these requests already in the other PC. Right. So I'm starting up Eclipse. So when you start up Eclipse, right, hold on. Look, for many of you, probably this would be very simple thing, but please understand that there are people out there who are very new. So that's why I'm starting from the very basics, right? So when you start up Eclipse, you have this thing coming up. This path over here is known as the workspace path, and this is window is known as workspace launcher. Workspace means the place where you will be storing all your code which you work, all your code, all your projects and all everything, right? So I store the code over here, D drive workspaces, in a folder known as Jan 2014 weekend batch. Okay, so I made this workspace, right? Click on OK and Eclipse will start. Right. So the main focus right now would be to learn the concept of object-oriented programming. Right. So I'm sorry. Hold on. Let Eclipse start up. Look, why I tell people to learn object-oriented programming is because, look, if you go to the official website of Selenium, right? If you go to seleniumhq.org, yes, seleniumhq.org, fine. First of all, if you read the first line, it tells you Selenium automates browsers, right? Selenium is not for desktop-based applications. It can only automate browsers. Selenium works on Android and iPhone as well, but on Android and iPhone, you can only check how your website is opening. You cannot test any native application, Android app, or you cannot test that. Okay. Now, secondly, I was talking about sorry. I'm really sorry for this. So when you go here, and you will find the Java docs. Okay, Java doc is particularly documentation. Okay, the official documentation for Selenium. If you go to this Java doc, you will see this coming up. Now this is something which most of you will not be able to understand. This is the correct and full and final documentation of Selenium. But the problem is this can only be understood if you know Java, if you know the concept of object oriented programming, then only you will be able to understand. So in some time I'll tell you the concept and I'll come over to this documentation and all, and I'll tell you how to configure Selenium on your machine as well. So just be with me and listen to me carefully. Okay, so I have Eclipse. Hold on. It's gone for a toss. No, it's okay. So this is the welcome screen of Eclipse, right? At any time, if you think that you're not able to get me, you can ask questions, or you think there's a delay in voice or something, you can let me know. Okay. So I'll close the welcome screen, right? So this is Eclipse. In the central portion of this Eclipse, I will be writing the Java code over here. On the left side, we will be having the projects. At the bottom, you will get the output and all everything. Okay, this is a simple story. There are 3 panels, right? You can close this outline and all. No need for this, right? Now, to work with Selenium, right? Make sure that you are in the Java perspective in Eclipse. Okay, there are various perspectives. When you click on this link, you have got various perspectives. You select Java perspective. To work with Selenium, we use core Java, and that means the basic Java perspective. If you don't see Java over here, you can go to other and select Java perspective over here. Okay, just hold on. Yeah, so this perspective open up. You can close this thing. That's it. Right. Fine. Now, in Eclipse, the first thing which you need to do is that you need to create a project. Okay, you can go out here, file, new, Java project. Okay, you click on this and create a new project. Look, some things will be very basic for you, but just hold on for some time. You will clearly understand. I am starting from very basic, right? So this is the Java project which has just been made. Okay. Now, if you right click on this project, you will have lot of options coming up. Hold on. Just hold on. It's hanging. Just hold on. Okay, it has hanged. It will be okay. Sometimes it happens with Eclipse. You just have to give it time, right? It becomes okay, right? Just give it 1 or 2 minutes. It will be okay. Sometimes, very rarely, it happens with Eclipse. Right. Meanwhile, I was telling you about the Java documentation. Okay, it's done. Hold on. Yeah. Meanwhile, I was telling documentation over here. Okay. So this is the Java documentation, all the classes and all which I mentioned over here. We'll be going through this in the course, right? Initially, you won't be able to understand anything in it, so don't worry, right? Now, as I was saying, you can right click on it. You'll get a lot of options when you right click on the project. One of the option is properties. Okay, you click on properties and you'll be using this a lot when working with Selenium. Okay, if you go to resource, you will see that this is the path. This is the path to the workspace which I created. Okay, if you copy this and physically go over there, you will see the day one project over here. Okay, you click on day one and you will see some folders, some files, right? Source folder will be there, bin folder, setting. Dot project file means that it's an Eclipse project. Okay, if you expand this day one project, you will get the source folder, the same source folder which you are seeing on your hard disk. Okay, and you will get this GRE system library. This is nothing but Java which is installed in your system. Okay, when you install GRE, this is that GRE. This is Java which is installed. So in order to work with Eclipse, you have to have Java installed. All right. Now all we have to do is that we have to create the Java code inside the source folder of the project. Okay, so Java is already installed or associated with this project. I just have to create Java files which I have to use. Fine. So I right click on the source folder and select new class. A class means a Java file basically. Okay, for layman a class is nothing. I am creating a new Java file. So I'll create a new Java file called as say sample.java, name it sample, and click on this checkbox public static void main and click on finish. Hold on. So you'll have this code coming up. Hold on, I know you'll not be able to see it. I'll increase my font size. Just hold on. I hope you are able to see this clearly now. Fine. So this is a sample Java file. Right now in this file there is something known as this is public class sample. The name of the class in Java should be same as the name of the file, sample.java and public class sample. It starts with the bracket and ends with the bracket in Java, and obviously just like any other programming language, in C you open a bracket, you close a bracket. Similar to C, like you have a main function out there. Out here in Java as well, we have a main function in which the control comes up for the first time when you run a program. Okay, what public is, what static is, and all that stuff, I'll tell you. Right, just be with me as you proceed with the course. You will come to know. Right now I cannot explain you exactly what this thing means because you are not aware of object-oriented programming. Fine. Now in Java language, to print something basic, anything, you have the command system.out.println. Okay, you just have to type syso, then hit control space. Okay, you just have to type syso, the shortcut is, then hit control plus space. Right, and you write over here say hello Selenium. You can run this code in Java. If you have to run and execute the code, there is a run button on the top. This is the green button. Fine, you click on this. Hold on, it will run. Just hold on. Run as Java application, and you will see that in the output console will open up, and in that hello Selenium will be printed. If you right click on this Java file, you select run as Java application. You can also run it like this. Okay, anyways, there are two ways: right click on the file and run it, or you can click on this button. Now basically this is required because out here in Eclipse, we will be writing all the Selenium code. So we will be writing Java language and we will be using Java and we'll be writing the Selenium code inside Eclipse. Fine, so that's why Java is important. Okay, now if you look at the physical location, again I tell you that I am assuming you know basic things like what an if statement is, what a for loop is, what a while loop is, what a function is, right? What is function return type. I am assuming you have basic programming language. Okay, fine, right. Now, if you go to the physical location where the project was lying, this was the source folder, which can also be seen inside Eclipse. If you open this, you will see sample.java file. If you open this, you will get the same code which I had made. You will get the same code out here. Okay, and sorry, if you open the bin folder is not available out here in project. It can only be seen in the hard disk, right? You will find that something known as sample.class file is formed. If you open it using say notepad or something, right, you will not be able to understand the thing, right? You will not be able to understand anything inside it. Okay, so this is kind of, you can say, machine language or whatever it is, right? I'll not go into that, fine, but it's not something which is very familiar to us. Okay, so this is the Java file. Every Java file, when you compile the project, when you compile it, it gets converted to a class file, dot class file. Suppose if I make another Java file, I'll make a Java file known as say hello.java, and inside it I write over here string x equals to automation, right? And I print x, right? And if you run this, it will print automation. And if you look at the bin folder, hello.class file will be there. Okay, so for every Java file, a class file is generated inside bin. Fine. Now, why am I telling you about class file? Is because when we deliver the code to client, and if we don't want him to have the source code, we give him the class file. Okay, class file is like an executable file. For example, you must have heard about DLLs. Those are also executables, right? So similarly, DLLs are in C Sharp and all towards Microsoft technology. In Java, you have got dot class files, hello dot class, sample dot class over here. These are executable files which the client can execute. Fine. So when you work in a project, okay, when you work in a project, you end up making lot of class files, right? These are all your class files, say, in a project, and you have to give all these class files to the client. Say there are 2000 class files, right? So how do you give the class file? The developers, they make a single file known as a jar file. Okay, jar file is nothing but collection of class files. The developers put all the class files into a single file known as a .jar file and give it to the client, and the client uses the jar file. For example, giving you a very clean example, this is JRE system library in your project. Okay, so if you expand this, you have got lot of jar files, When you download Java and install it, nothing happens but these jar files they come in your system. So Java is nothing but combination of many jar files, and each of these jar files has got many class files in it, right? You see that there are many class files in each of these jar files. I don't know, if I try to open this, I will not be able to open it. Fine, but I can use these. For example, if I type over here, hold on, system.out.println new date. Forget about this, what I have written new date or something, but date is an internal class. It's date dot class which is somewhere present inside a particular jar file. Okay, I have used this class over here, executed the program, and it is printing the current date. How have I used it by writing new date and all? I'll talk about it later on, but the fact which I want to present in front of you is that I never made this date.java file. I only have the date.class file which was presented to me by the Java developers. It's somewhere in one of these jar files. Fine. So understand the fact that firstly a jar file is nothing but combination of class files, and you can also include jar files in your project so that you can use pre-existing functionalities in your project. Is it clear? Anybody having any questions? Anybody having any questions till now? No questions, right? Okay. So now what is Selenium? There is no exe for Selenium. When you install QTP, if anybody has installed QTP, you download the exe, you install it by double clicking on exe, and QTP gets installed. Selenium is not installed. When you go to seleniumhq.org, hold on. seleniumhq.org, you go here, you go to the downloads section, right? You have to download this one, the Java client version 2.39. Okay, you download it, right? Right now I have it with me. I think I have 2.35 or something. Just hold on. I will check it out. Yeah, I have 2.35 which I downloaded a long time back in somewhere in November, right? October, November, I guess. Yeah, 2.35 I have, but it doesn't really make a difference if you're learning for the first time. So you download this, you will have these two jar files. So Selenium comes in form of jar files. It's not an exe or something. You have to include these jar files in your project, right? In the libs folder also you will have lot of jar files. Fine. So what you need to do is that you need to go to your project, right? This is how you configure Selenium in your system. Right click on your project and go to the project properties. Fine. And then go to Java build path option. Fine. Under library section there will be 4 tabs: source, project, libraries, order and export. Under library section you will see that GRE is already there, that's why it's reflecting in the project, right? You can add external jars as well in the project. I'll add the external jars. I'll add the Selenium these two jar files, and don't forget to add the jar files under libs as well. So these all you will download from Selenium website. Okay, you will download 2.39, but it's not a big change, right? So once you download it, you will see another library coming up over here, reference libraries. In this you will have the jars of Selenium. Just a minute. Yeah, you will have the Selenium jars. Okay, and there are inbuilt classes inside these jars which you can use. Okay, there are inbuilt, for example, like these are Android driver dot class. Right, there are lots of other classes. Now to understand how to use these classes, right? To understand how to use these inbuilt classes in Selenium, you need to understand object-oriented programming, and that's what I'm going to teach you next. Okay, the concept of object-oriented programming. We have downloaded and configured Selenium in our project. Okay, how do you use Selenium? Let's move on and I'll tell you. Okay, guys, just a minute.